Okay, take two. Okay, we're going to talk about guitar versus pool and learning. Okay, we're going to talk about my kid, Ami, and I'll try to keep it to a little shorter intro. And also, I'm going to try not to get monkey tilted because I was monkey tilted to where I was dropping F-bombs in the middle of the last one. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't be putting this out. Okay, so we're going to try to calm down and deliver this in a little bit more organized way with a little less emotion. We'll be a little more positive. So my kid plays guitar, right? He plays a bunch of instruments. He plays more than guitar. I'll put some links in the description. I'm just going to say my kid is extremely gifted. That's it. He's extremely gifted. He's an amazing kid. And it's nothing to do with me. It's a genetic fluke and a gift from God, whatever you want to call it, but it has nothing to do with me. So am I a proud dad? I mean, yeah, but not because he can play the guitar and like at an insane level, and he plays drums at an insane level, and he plays piano, and he plays bass, and he's a studio level musician on all of them, and he's elite probably at guitar and maybe drums, and his singing is solid, and he produces his own music, has his own studio, does all these things. That's cool and that's fun to watch, and I'm glad to be that I'm like thankful that my kid's generationally talented at music, but I'm proud of him for who he is as a person, as a young man. The kid he's amazing, right? And so, yeah. So when people say, "Oh, you must be so proud," it's like the music is like, it's like a genetic deformity, or like maybe God has a plan for him kind of thing. It just does nothing, So pride to me is like, when I hear a proud parent, I think the guy in the sidelines of the football, that's my kid, that's my kid. And I'm like, I'm never, that's my kid. I'm just like, to me, quietly, I'm like, holy cow, that's my kid. In a vacuum, alone in a room, when I'm listening to him play and I'm listening to his recordings, I'm like, wow, that's my kid. Like, that's amazing that I was blessed with this child so that I can enjoy this music. And then also, that's my kid. That's my kid that looks at his older brother and says, I'm concerned about you. I want you to be safe. I love you. That's my kid, that when I talk to him, he has super, super deep rooted character and ideas. And he's a hard worker. He works joyfully multiple hours a day. He's all those things. So that's my kid. That's the kid that I am so proud of, those kind of intangibles, the flashy, showy stuff. He doesn't even care about it. So why would I care about it? Like, he doesn't care that he can do this stuff, and he doesn't want to be famous. He doesn't want to do any of that stuff. But he has like generational talent. He more wants to be a builder. Like, he wants to be in the studio and he wants to record other artists, right? So I'm proud of him for that, right? His humility. He's a very humble kid and he's awesome. So enough about that. That's my intro. Okay, I'll save you. That was 2 or 3 minutes of my kid. Now let's talk about, I interviewed him. We were at breakfast and I said, bro, why are you so good at this stuff? Just tell me, I'm interested. I've always liked to study elite performers and understand what elite performers do. And so I just asked him, maybe if he shares some of this information, it'll help me help you guys, and it'll help me to learn to be a better teacher and a better student and all those things. Okay, so here we go. Guitar, just as guitar. I asked him, well, what is it with guitar? And how do you practice guitar? And what does it mean to you? And where are you at with guitar and all that stuff? And he said, okay. And I said, what are the keys, right? He said, well, to get better at guitar, how you got good at guitar and how you're going to get better. So he's not a music theory kid. Not for guitar. He did no music theory for guitar. It's all by ear, and it's all self-taught, autodidactic, just like other things, right? He's had some guitar lessons, but mostly he's learned on his own. Same with bass, vocals, whatever. He gets a little bit of some help now from his instructor, but he got to where he was, where we went into a studio and he recorded 2 songs in like 1 take, bass, drums, guitar, vocals, in a professional studio. He was in and out in 3 hours, and he killed a song, and then he did it again and killed another one. And so that was when he was 12. He barely had any guitar lessons at that point. No bass, no vocal, no nothing lessons, just all self-taught, right? And just a little bit of guitar lessons at that point. So now he's got a little bit more lessons. He goes once a week, and the guy will help him with some voice stuff, and he'll help him with some piano stuff. And he's kind of out of the guitar, and because he's like, well, I kind of solved guitar, right? He's 13, guitar solved. And I go, well, what does that mean? And he's like, well, I could study music theory, for guitar, but that's boring and I don't like it. And I don't think that it's going to get me any farther than I already am, or it's not going to be there's nothing that I can't do with a guitar that this music theory and this stuff is going to help me with. So it's not very fun. I'm not very interested in it. I understand music theory is necessary for piano, so I'll sort of use my music theory and piano learning. But for guitar, as far as guitar goes, it's not as useful. And so he doesn't enjoy it. So he said, well, if I was to have to do that, I probably wouldn't play guitar anymore, because I just like to play guitar now and enjoy the way I play guitar and try to just do other things to get better at guitar, right? And so that's cool. That's interesting. I was just listening. But what I thought about was drills. When he said that, I thought about pool drills. And I thought, that is the way that I came to be about pool drills. And that could change, right? It could change for him with music theory. It could change for me with drills. I just did a drill the other day. I get a podcast on it, or one of these things I was talking about it. So I'm more interested in drills now, but not for the reason that other people are interested in drills, but I am interested in drills. But not a lot. And if it was only drills, I would not be playing pool. I don't really do drills, but I'll do them more. But anyways, what I'm saying is, people text me, call me, whatever. And a big thing that many, many people talk about is that all it is on YouTube is drills. That's why we love your channel, whatever. I get that. As responses, I understand it, but people respond to me that way and interact with me that way. And I'm like, okay, cool. They like that I don't just sit here and pump out a drill and like, share, subscribe, here's your drill. And I just think that's like music theory. So if I was to go on and search guitar stuff and was trying to learn guitar, I bet you a lot of dudes are out there trying to pitch music theory as the way to learn guitar. And that's just reminded me, of the same thing, because I would be miserable learning music theory style pool. It doesn't work that way, So anyways, it was just cool to kind of think about that. Then also, he talked about comfort. And he said, you need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. Like, these are the keys to him playing guitar. He says, I need to be comfortable being uncomfortable. He goes, because the sounds I want to make, it's going to be maybe hurt my hands, or maybe I'm going to have to do this or stretch or do some stuff that I'm not used to. And so he said, basically, he needs to be uncomfortable being uncomfortable so that he can stretch out his, and challenge himself, right? And this is the same for pool. Like, that is 100% the same for pool. If you only practice what you're comfortable with, and you find your little comfort zone for practice, and you're screwed. This is one of the biggest things that I have is, when I play and I learn a shot, I sit there and think, what is my uncomfortable feeling? Okay. And then I look, if someone's showing me a shot, or I'm trying to learn a shot on my own, I say, okay, I'm uncomfortable with that, but I see what the cue ball did, and I see what the object ball did, and I did exactly what I wanted, even though I'm uncomfortable. So I'm like, that uncomfortable will become comfortable over time, and I'm comfortable being uncomfortable and repeating that uncomfortable feeling 100 times, 500 times, 1,000 times, because that uncomfortable feeling is going to get me. So Ami does the same with the guitar. This is uncomfortable, but I'm getting the sound I like. So this is my new comfortable. And so I keep going until it is comfortable. And pool's the same way. And so when I look at Ami and him being like learning like a sponge and all this stuff, these are some keys, right? Like, he's gifted, yes, of course, we already went through that, but these are the keys to his learning that I was really interested in, and I want to share with you guys, because these are the same exact keys that I'm trying to talk to you guys about with learning pool. And he made a statement on comfort that I thought was really cool. He said, Dad, if you're comfortable, I'm not saying he made all this stuff up. He frickin' probably could look this up he doesn't believe in AI, by the way, which is awesome. That's one reason why I love the kid. He hates AI. But he might have just read this on a napkin somewhere. But he said, if you're comfortable with the guitar, you're either really good or you're really bad. And I believe that's the same thing with pool. If you're comfortable playing pool, you're either really good or you're really bad. Meaning, like, you're just bad and you just think you're good at guitar and you're comfortable, right? And or you're really bad because you're playing in your comfort zone. So you're comfortable, right? Like, I'm just gonna, like, say I played a game of pool and I was most comfortable just smashing them and not even playing position. Well, if I was constantly comfortable playing pool, but I was smashing every ball and not playing position, I'd be a really bad pool player, but I'd be really comfortable. And I think that Ami's saying the same thing. It's just very funny with guitar. He says, you're either really good or really bad. And I'm like, bro, that makes total sense. Okay, so then he also said, okay, you need to have a basic knowledge, right? And so I like that he said basic knowledge, because that's what I'm teaching is with these 5 components, 6 components with blending them. But it's like basic knowledge of biomechanics, basic knowledge of physics, basic knowledge of geometry, basic knowledge of strategy, basic knowledge of the mental game, okay? And with him, it's string, tone, and pitch. He needs to have a basic understanding of how the strings work. He needs to have basic tone, so he's not tone deaf, hopefully, and pitch, right? And so in basic knowledge, I'm teaching basic knowledge, and because I'm a beginner intermediate training site, right? But I also have some advanced stuff too, because I'm an advanced player. And we can rabbit hole all you guys want, and maybe sometimes I go a little too deep, but I'm trying to teach the basic knowledge of those 5 areas, okay? And then he said something that is a little difficult, and this hit home with me as well. Hand-eye coordination, that's a thing. He said you need to have hand-eye coordination. And so it's hard because some people, that's like a born thing for some people, and some people it's very difficult. And so I get it. It's not good news that you need hand-eye coordination to play pool or guitar. But, I think if you can get comfortable being uncomfortable, right, you can probably improve your hand-eye coordination. And it's probably more uncomfortable for someone without hand-eye coordination to play pool than it is somebody like myself with good, great eye-hand coordination. And so it's just, I get it, but, I think we can work around it, right? And we're not all trying to be, professional pool players. We're beginners and intermediates, okay? So let's just focus on that. You got enough hand-eye coordination to play 600 pool. You just do 600 Fargo. You do. Because I know people that play over like 600 pool that are completely uncoordinated, okay? Like disastrously so. So I would say we can get to a certain level with bad eye-hand coordination. And then we could also work through it too. Like even people with bad eye-hand coordination could probably get to higher level, but it's tens of thousands of hours or thousands of hours. Okay, so, but that's a thing he mentioned. Now this is the coolest thing that he said, okay? We've had some deep dives on this conversation with him and I, and this is like where it gets into the weeds a little bit, which we're not going to get into the weeds too much on it. I just want to share with you guys. He also said, it helps if you understand physics for guitar. And basically what he said was, if you understand the energy transfer to the strings, right? And so that is like touch with a pool cue, basically. There's a way that you touch those strings that is not just hard or soft, okay? And there's a way that we play pool that is not just hard or soft. And it's a really difficult thing for people to get. And I have a video out. I think I'm gonna do a video. I have to look. I'm doing so many videos, I get lost in it. But like lever length is how you kind of control speed, but not kind of, that's how you control speed with your lever length. Longer lever, more energy in the cue ball, transfers to the object ball, whatever. That's it. So now with guitar, there's a way that he touches those strings that there is a energy transfer, and he has the magic hands. Like he understands the energy transfer. in like nanosecond, super full motion. Like, you know, he understands the guitar. The guitar is very close to an extension of him. He's done a lot of research on Jimi Hendrix. He's doing a set with us. We're doing a concert here tomorrow, and we're doing a Thank God I'm Out of the Club barbecue. And I'm having some people over, and we're going to celebrate that I'm done. And he's going to play live, and I don't know, it'll be 50, 70, 100 people here. And he's going to play a Jimi Hendrix set. It's going to be insane. It's very funny because I was at a guitar place, and they're like, you can't cover Jimi. Nobody can cover Jimi. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? My kid's going to knock out a set tomorrow, completely crush the guitar, and do all the vocals. So, I don't know, he's 13, whatever, bro. People can cover Jimi because, I'll put his Fire song in the comments here. It's one of my favorite songs he's recorded. He did it in his recording studio at our house. I'll put that in the comments. It's a Bandcamp thing. But that's his Jimi cover, and I'm telling you, that kid can cover Jimi. Like, that's flat out the way it is. And so I'm excited. But the whole point about the Jimi Hendrix thing is that he's been studying Jimi, and he's like, Jimi put in 70,000 hours. And he's starting to click and understand how dedicated Jimi was to guitar. And people say Jimi's the greatest of all time, Jimi Hendrix, or one of them, And no one talks about the 70,000 hours. They talk about the gifts, the hands, the whatever. He was so young when he did. And what I'm saying is, if you were to hear my kid play or see him, you'd think, well, he's gifted. And it's like, man, that kid plays 10 hours a day. I mean, he does it joyfully, and he does it switched on, learning the whole time. He's not running some bullshit like I ran for decades. He's not running the bullshit that people run. He is dialed in. He's locked in, son. And so it's just funny because he's studying Jimi Hendrix, and he's like 70,000 hours, and he's thinking about his own hours, and he's like, okay, I get it. And then he's listening to Hendrix talk about guitar, and basically Hendrix, the guitar he played enough where it became a part of him. Well, Poole can be that way for people too. I'm sure Fyodor and Filler, and Shaw and all those guys, the Q probably feels like an extension of their body. I get it. Like, they're generationally gifted, and they're tens of thousands of hours, and so, rightly so, right? But it's really cool to listen to him talk about it, because he talks about guitar the way I understand Poole, and it's just really neat, an energy transfer to the strings. And I'm talking about understanding how the cue ball reacts and how these balls go, and like being able to I told this story and I edited it out, but I don't know. I could break the balls, and I could tell you that I'm going to run out whether or not right before at the last roll of the two balls, I can tell you whether I'm running the balls out, and I could probably give you most of the pattern why the balls are still moving. And we're playing 8-ball on a bar table, and so I don't know. Maybe everyone does that, maybe, but it doesn't seem like everyone does that. But I do it, and that's the kind of weeds I get into, and the type of experience I have, or the type of time I put into this game. And it's just fun to listen to my kid talk about energy transfer to strings. And I asked him about playing out of an amp for recording versus into his computer. And he said he doesn't like playing into his computer because he can't feel the vibration. He can't feel the vibration of the amp. And that is a artistic thing, right? And so a lot of the new school, everyone plays into a plug-in, and my kid is 13, and he's old head when it comes to music. And he's like, no, I want to play into an amp so I can feel the vibration. There's a physics thing, a physical thing, a physics, an energy transfer from the vibration that connects him to his instrument and his sound. And maybe everybody plays that way. I don't know, but it doesn't seem like it, because because then it would be a thing where nobody played into a plug-in. And he plays in a plug-in once in a while. He's not like, a snob where I never play into a plug-in, but he really, 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 if he has his druthers, is that a word? He would want to play into an amp. And so he recorded last night. He's been recording by himself and all this stuff. Last night they recorded live with a band for practice for this thing. And I was in the car with him listening to it, and he's like, man, he goes, this is what I like. This is what I want. This is the sound I've always wanted. And that's playing live, feeling the vibration, and creating his music in that setting, rather than him playing alone. Like this Fire song is all him. He's the bass, he's the guitar, he's the drums, he's the mix, the master, everything involved in that song, vocals, everything. And he's like, I don't really like that. Like, I want to be part of this energy of the band and part of the vibration of the instruments and part of the vibration of the monitors and the amp and things like that. And I want to record live like that. And it's just so cool to hear him talk about it. It's just really exciting. So I'm sorry. I'm learning from him, and I'm trying to give you guys a glimpse into the learning that I'm doing from him. And hopefully maybe you can hear some of these, the way he looks at things and say, okay, this is the way an elite performer looks at his craft, right? And he wraps it up in a 10-hour-a-day bow and flat out kills it. So it's really cool. And we don't all have 10 hours a day, of course. And that's to tie this all together. It's like, let's look at these things that he talks about and let's see if we can do a little bit of those things, right? Let's see if we can do it. Because that's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm inspired when I talk to my kid, and I say, okay, let me see what of these things what I do, which I actually do all of them coincidentally, but it's a great reminder for me, and it's a great opportunity for you guys to share for me to share with you guys in a little different voice, a little different example, a little different thing, a little different situation. Guitar, it's a different discipline, different art, I guess we'd say. I don't know if this is an art, but this is definitely a game, so that we love. All right, we'll see you next time. I love you guys. Hopefully this helped, and talk to you later. Bye.